Aaron Hernandez was a prominent and controversial NFL player. While he dazzled on the field with his remarkable skills, his horrifying crimes stunned the world. Aaron Hernandez was born in Bristol, Connecticut, on November 6, 1989, and grew up on Greystone Avenue. His parents had a tumultuous relationship, marrying, divorcing, and then marrying again. Financial struggles and constant arguments filled their home. Aaron had an older brother named DJ. Their father pushed them to do well in sports, but was also abusive, especially when he thought they weren't trying hard enough in school or athletics. The boys lived in fear of their father, but also looked up to him. Aaron once came to school with a bruise from his father, and his coach suspected it was from a beating. His father even got into fights, once punching Aaron's youth football coach over a disagreement about coaching. After his father died from surgery complications when Hernandez was 16, his behavior changed. He rebelled against authority figures and moved in with his older cousin, Tanya Singleton, because he became distant from his mother. Later, he learned his mother had an affair with Singleton's husband, which made him very angry. Living with Singleton, he got more involved in crime. In a jailhouse conversation, Hernandez accused his mother, Terry, of failing to obtain medication for his ADHD, which he said caused him to struggle in school. According to Hernandez's brother, DJ, Hernandez was also sexually molested as a child. A teenage boy in his babysitter's house forced Hernandez to perform oral sex on him, beginning when Hernandez was 6 years old and continuing for several years. In high school, Hernandez was a standout athlete at Bristol Central High. He played football, basketball, and ran track, excelling in each sport. Starting as a wide receiver and later a tight end, he set state records for receiving yards and touchdowns. Despite his success, he had a reputation for using marijuana heavily and drinking. Initially, Hernandez planned to play football at the University of Connecticut with his brother, but he changed his mind and chose the University of Florida instead. His decision was influenced by Coach Urban Meyer, who personally convinced Hernandez's school principal to let him graduate early. This allowed Hernandez to join the Florida team and start training just after his 17th birthday. During his time at the University of Florida, Hernandez dedicated 40 to 60 hours each week to football activities, all year long. As a freshman in 2007, he played in 3 games and caught 9 passes for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. Despite his promising start, he was benched at the beginning of his sophomore year due to failing a drug test. He later stepped up during the season due to a teammate's injury, finishing with 34 receptions, 381 yards, and 5 touchdowns. As a junior in 2009, Hernandez won the John Mackey Award for Best Tight End in the country and received multiple All-American honors after a season with 68 catches, 850 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Despite controversies and struggles with drug use, Hernandez ended his college career with impressive stats before moving on to pursue a professional career in the NFL. Teammates described Hernandez as someone who always wanted to be the center of attention at social gatherings. His first-year college classes ranged from bowling to gardening, and he mostly earned B's in his courses. In his sophomore year, he made the conference honor roll, but by his junior year, he struggled academically, receiving a D in one class and failing to complete another. In January 2010, Hernandez decided to skip his senior year of college and enter the NFL draft. He couldn't do physical tests at first due to a back injury, but later performed well at Florida's Pro Day in March. Despite concerns about his behavior off the field and his size, he was still expected to be drafted in the 2nd round. NFL experts generally ranked him as one of the top tight end prospects available. In the 2010 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots picked Aaron Hernandez in the 4th round. The day before, they also drafted another tight end, Rob Gronkowski, from Arizona. Hernandez was the 6th tight end chosen that year. Despite being a top prospect, some teams avoided drafting him due to concerns about his behavior. These worries stemmed from off-field issues in college, rumors of failed drug tests, and character concerns. Teams like the Colts, Bengals, and Dolphins removed him from their draft lists due to these issues. Hernandez admitted to using marijuana and failing one college drug test during interviews at the NFL Combine. The Patriots signed him after he promised to be regularly tested and appeared to earn their trust. They gave him a 4-year contract with a $200,000 signing bonus and additional bonuses based on performance. Hernandez, the youngest player on any NFL roster at the time, made his debut in the Patriots' season opener against the Bengals, catching a 45-yard pass. He had a standout game in Week 2 against the Jets with 6 receptions for 101 yards, becoming the youngest player since 1960 to achieve over 100 receiving yards in a game. Throughout the season, Hernandez continued to excel. He finished his rookie year with 45 catches for 563 yards and 6 touchdowns in 14 games. Alongside Gronkowski, they formed a dynamic receiving pair, helping the Patriots to a 14-2 season and a playoff berth. In his first playoff game, Hernandez caught one pass as the Patriots fell to the Jets in the AFC divisional round. In February 2011, Hernandez had hip surgery after getting injured late in the previous season. When Chad Johnson joined the team and wanted the number 85 jersey, Hernandez gave it to him for a reported $50,000, which Hernandez used to fund a marijuana purchase for his relative's husband. Coach Belichick named Hernandez the starting secondary tight end for the season alongside Gronkowski. Hernandez played a key role in the Patriots' offense, often lining up as an H-back to influence pass defenses. He had a strong start to the 2011 season, scoring touchdowns and setting a career high with 9 catches for 129 yards against the Broncos. Despite not initially being selected, Hernandez was later chosen as a Pro Bowl alternate, with many arguing he deserved the spot over others. He finished the season with 79 receptions, 910 yards, and 7 touchdowns in 14 games. His contributions helped the Patriots to a successful year with high rankings in receptions and receiving yards. On August 27, 2012, the Patriots signed Hernandez to a 5-year contract extension worth $39.58 million. The deal included $15.95 million guaranteed and a record-setting $12.5 million signing bonus for a tight end in NFL history. His contract was the second largest ever for a tight end, just behind his teammate Gronkowski's deal. As a gesture, Hernandez donated $50,000 of his signing bonus to a charity named after the late wife of the Patriots owner. Throughout his life, Hernandez had numerous encounters with the law, starting soon after he moved to Florida as a young student. He admitted feeling on edge in nightclubs and frequently perceived minor offenses as personal challenges. He surrounded himself with a risky circle of friends, including some with criminal backgrounds, whom he hired as assistants while playing for the Patriots. One of them was involved in drugs and provided Hernandez with weapons. His behavior often included fits of anger and paranoia. After his death, a former teammate remarked that joining the Patriots was detrimental because it reintroduced him to old criminal influences from Connecticut. Hernandez maintained a secret apartment where he stored drugs and guns, often retreating there to smoke marijuana. He once claimed to earn respect through possessing weapons, and there were incidents, like a police questioning outside a bar, that added to his troubled reputation. During his time in prison, he reportedly told another inmate that he belonged to a gang called the Bloods. In April 2007, in Gainesville, Florida, a 17-year-old Hernandez had 2 drinks with Tim Tebow at a restaurant, but refused to pay the bill. He punched a restaurant manager, causing a ruptured eardrum. Police arrived, and Hernandez called his coach, Urban Meyer, who contacted the team's lawyer. The victim mentioned a settlement involving lawyers and the team, but the team denied this. Police wanted to charge Hernandez with a serious assault, but it was resolved out of court with an agreement to defer prosecution. On September 30, 2007, a shooting occurred in Gainesville, Florida, targeting 3 men in a car stopped at a traffic light after leaving a nightclub. Police urgently requested Hernandez and 2 teammates to come to the station, but they arrived 4 hours later after consulting with their lawyer, Huntley Johnson. While the other players cooperated with the investigation, Hernandez chose not to speak to police without his lawyer present. When police finally interviewed Hernandez, they found him asleep at the table, which they found unusual during a serious investigation. Initially, no charges were filed. However, after Hernandez's 2013 arrest and conviction for another murder, Massachusetts authorities reached out to Florida police to investigate any possible link to the 2007 shooting. Detective Tom Mullins reopened the case and determined Hernandez was not the shooter. The witness who initially identified him withdrew his statement, explaining he had assumed Hernandez was involved due to an earlier altercation at the club, despite not actually seeing him at the scene. In the early hours of April 30, 2011, police were called to Hernandez's rented townhouse in Plainville, Massachusetts, due to a disturbance. Earlier that evening, a high school friend had been pulled over for reckless driving after speeding at 120 miles per hour on a highway with a 55 mph limit. The state trooper didn't arrest the driver upon recognizing Hernandez in the passenger seat. When Plainville police arrived later, they also recognized Hernandez and instructed them both to go inside the house. In July 2012, Hernandez was investigated for the fatal shooting of Daniel D'Abreu and Safiro Furtado near a Boston nightclub. Witnesses said Hernandez's SUV pulled up next to the victim's car, and someone from his vehicle yelled racial slurs before shots were fired, killing both men. Hernandez was identified in club security footage, but police initially saw his presence as coincidental. In 2014, he was indicted for murder, along with charges for attempted murder and assault. The trial began in 2017 with testimony from Alexander Bradley, who accused Hernandez of the shootings due to a nightclub altercation earlier that night. Despite circumstantial evidence, Hernandez was acquitted of the murders in April 2017, but found guilty of illegally possessing a handgun. In February 2013, Hernandez and Alexander Bradley visited a Florida strip club and ran up a $10,000 bill. Hernandez grew paranoid about 2 men he thought were undercover Boston police officers. Bradley claimed that during the trip, Hernandez pointed a gun at him, leading to Bradley being found injured with a gunshot wound to his face the next day. Bradley didn't cooperate with police, but instead threatened Hernandez with death and tried to extort money from him. They exchanged hundreds of threatening text messages, with Bradley demanding millions to stay silent. Eventually, Bradley filed a lawsuit against Hernandez, which was later settled privately in 2016. Hernandez was indicted for witness intimidation related to Bradley being a witness in the Boston double homicide case. In 2017, Hernandez was acquitted of the intimidation charge and most other charges related to the murders, except for illegal possession of firearms. In 2013, Hernandez traveled to California with his fiancée and daughter for shoulder surgery. During their stay, Jenkins called the police twice, reporting Hernandez as drunk and violent. In one incident, he broke a window with his hand. Police found no immediate danger to Jenkins or the child, despite claims of drugs and guns in their apartment. Shortly after returning, police searched Hernandez's home in connection with the shooting death of Odin Lloyd, whose body was found near Hernandez's house. Hernandez denied involvement to Patriots coach Bill Belichick and owner Robert Kraft, but the team barred him from their facilities amid media attention. Hernandez was charged with first-degree murder and released from the Patriots. He pleaded not guilty, but was convicted in 2015 and sentenced to life in prison without parole, also facing firearm charges. The motive, possibly linked to Hernandez's fears about his bisexuality being revealed, was investigated, but not confirmed. After being arrested, Hernandez faced severe financial consequences. The Patriots terminated his contract, causing him to lose $19.3 million in salaries. They also voided all guarantees and sought to recoup a $3.25 million signing bonus. The NFL suspended any future contracts pending an investigation. Hernandez's endorsements were dropped, and his merchandise was pulled from stores and websites. Legal battles ensued, including an appeal for his murder conviction. While in prison, Hernandez's life included discipline, religious exploration, and allegations of drug use. He died by suicide in 2017, leaving behind handwritten notes and prompting an investigation into his death. This brings us to the end of the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, quickly do so, and don't forget to comment who you want us to cover next. Bye.